I heard you watched Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. I mean, what's really bizarre is the fact you get no
business because you're bad at sales or something. I don't know. Hey, I spent the last 2 years reading JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3. No, seriously, it took me that long. As somebody who started with literally zero knowledge of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I tasked myself with reading through the entire manga to see if the hype was real. Spoiler alert, the verdict? Yeah, it's getting there. So far, I've read Part 1, Part 2, and now most recently, Part 3, Stardust Crusaders. This is my ongoing tier list of JoJo parts. If I'm being honest, I think I have to give Part 3 a B. But I actually liked Part 3 better than Part 2. I'm feeling like I put Part 2 in A because of like some sort of recency bias. I remember I enjoyed it, but to be honest, it wasn't that memorable to me. I don't remember a lot that happened in it. Same goes for Part 1. So I think I gotta bump Part 2 down to a C. Ugh. I actually really did like Part 3 though. Apparently it's the breaking point for a lot of people. I remember somebody saying that you either love it and continue reading the rest of the series, or you hate it and drop it off right there. To be honest, there's only like a few things I didn't like about it. Firstly, how long and repetitive the story was. Like seriously, the story could have been halved and probably been better for it. Okay, so if you haven't read or seen it, this is basically how the story goes. Jojo. Oh no, Jojo's mom is sick. Jojo needs to kill the bad guy in order to save his mom. But the bad guy is in Egypt, and Jojo is all the way in Japan. So Jojo has to go from Japan to Egypt and fight a bunch of bad guys along the way. And that's the story of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3 Stardust Crusaders. It's actually not a bad story. Where it gets repetitive is literally like every fight on the way to Egypt. It's the same deal over and over again, and it's pretty clear that it's going to be that way from the get-go. Typical villain of the week type stuff. That being said, some of the fights were pretty awesome, I'll give it that. But to be honest, it felt like the whole series was kind of just an excuse for the 10th volume, which was by far the best one. The other thing I didn't like was just how corny it was. You could argue that like it's just part of the charm, but I mean, here, look at these panels. It's a woman. Please have mercy, don't drink my blood. Please don't drink my blood, I'll do anything. Please don't kill me, pretty please. Calm down, we'll help you, but you need to calm down. We're not on Dio's side. My side? You're on my side? You're really gonna help me? That's right, we're allies. Boom! Allies of justice. First of all, I'm so sorry for those voices. It's so corny. Okay, it's a little funny. You guys wanna see my favorite page? This is in volume 2. So the characters are receiving a message from a TV that's like changing channels. Yes, it's looking for the right words among all the channels to create a message. For the ear, not the eye. Among us. See? It said among us! Among us! Among us! I actually laughed out loud at that one. So my favorite thing about JoJo's Part 3 has to be the stands. I guess the Hamon power system wasn't working, so the introduction of stands was much needed. I finally get it. So for those of you who don't know, stands are kind of like these crazy superpowers that some people have, but like personified most of the time. Yeah, maybe I don't actually get it. If you know, you know. The coolest stand by far was Sarudo! I finally understand that too. Of course, the main cast had the coolest stands. Star Platinum, Silver Chariot, Magician's Red was so cool. I wish we saw more of that. Okay, actually Hermit Purple wasn't that impressive. And while Hierophant Green looked pretty cool and could probably take an entire Minecraft village by storm, I didn't really get that one. Still cool though. So remember when I said stands were my favorite thing about Part 3? I lied. The characters are what really brings the story together. The weakest parts of the story are when you just really don't care about the characters. Like this random kid and Winton from Overwatch. Like that part sucked. Get it out of here. I want to see some of that whole horse. Darby the Gambler, and of course Dio. And the main cast really shines throughout Part 3. Like, I know in Part 2, Joseph had a fighting buddy, but I can't really remember who it was. But the main cast in Part 3 is unforgettable. I know that for a fact. So first off, you have the new Jojo, Jotaro Kujo. Literally so cool. And then, of course, Joseph comes back as an old man, but he still had, like, that spunk he had when he was younger. Despite his stand being kind of Joseph quickly became, like, one of my favorite characters, hands down. And then another character I liked, who we didn't get to see a whole lot of, was Avdol, which I realized way too late that Avdol's name is actually Abdul, which makes a lot more sense. Avdol is just a bad translation from Japanese. And Kakyoin and Polnareff I have no idea how to pronounce his name.
Polnareff.
They were seriously some S-tier side characters. At the beginning, it felt like all these characters were gonna like join the group and then instantly become irrelevant, but that wasn't the case. It was so cool seeing each of them play like their own individual role in everything that happened. And perhaps, and somehow, one of the greatest characters, the big bad Dio. He literally only showed up for like one volume, but that one volume was the best volume in the entire series so far. His stand made for such an intense and interesting battle. I was literally alongside the main characters, like trying to figure out what his stand did. And then once it was revealed, I was thinking just like, how in Zawarudo are they going to beat this? Some of the best artwork also comes from this volume 10. Literally iconic. You can tell that Araki just had so much fun drawing Dio. So overall, this has been one of my favorite JoJo parts so far. And the ending actually managed to hook me. I am so ready to read part 4, which, as I've been told, is miles better. Not only that, but I also found out recently that JoJo's Part 7 is literally number 2 on My Anime List's top manga. Above Vagabond? Really? Above One Piece? Above Grand Blue? What's that even doing on there? If it's really that good, I have to keep reading to figure out what that's all about. Anyways, that's what I thought about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3 Stardust Crusaders. Let's keep talking though. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite stand? I already mentioned The World was my favorite, but I also really liked Dream 13. And I don't remember its name, but the one that Darby the Gambler used. All right, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. I'm Ryan, and bye.